Leadership Academy. My name is Lucy. This is Lily Boyer, Abby Hoover, and Alex Tebby. And we are part of our group. And we'll be talking about mental health and THS.
One arm man that tricks me. Apparently you need both arms to run that.
And your pamphlets are, you can go along with our slides there.
No touching anything.
Okay, so for our mission statement is to recognize and provide resources for mental health at THS, so that we can create a more positive environment to help the mental well-being of the THS student body. And Alex said we were talking about our issue.
So our issue, me and other friends of mine, I think we all agree on this, we've noticed a growing negative environment in our student body. It's not very welcoming, it's not very warm, everybody seems to be very negative. I think I've heard somebody joke about their mental health almost every single day, joke about hurting themselves or thoughts of killing themselves, suicide. I think I hear somebody joke about that almost every single day, and it's not comfortable, it's disheartening. So we also have proven higher levels of stress and anxiety, which we've shown through a survey we're going to show you here in a second. So we conducted a survey on October 9th of 2022. We had 172 replies, which is roughly a quarter of our student body, so it's fairly representative. Questions were centered around students' mental health, things like that. So the first question we asked, do you struggle with mental health? And 39.6% answered a 1 or 2. We did it a little bit backwards. A 1 or 2, a 1 was a yes all the time, a 5 was never. So 39% of students answered a 1 or 2, which is concerning. That's more than a third of our student population saying that they do not have good mental health. Our second question was, do you ever feel overwhelmed at school? And 60.5% of the students that took this survey answered a 1 and 2, which shows that school is the leading source of stress, anxiety, and mental health issues for students our age. The third question we asked, do you find it hard to focus when you are overwhelmed? 63% of students answered a 1 and 2. That's not too surprising. When I took this survey, I answered a 1 and 2 as well. It's very hard to focus when you have something else on your mind, especially if that's a loss in the family or something that's hard to handle. Fourth question we asked, in the past year, have you needed help for emotional or mental health problems such as feeling sad, blue, anxious, nervous, things like that? 43.5% of students answered a 1 or 2, so that's almost a little under half of the students saying that they needed help for something, and we don't know how many of those students actually got that help. So the last question we asked was this question: do you know somebody who struggles with mental health, or how many people do you know? The majority of the answers, 35%, said 5+ people, and the thing that was alarming about that to me is the last question we asked in this survey was, it wasn't a question, it was an open comment. Give us your comments, give us your thoughts. And a lot of people said that they don't trust a lot of the adults and the staff members of the school, which is concerning. And so when I see that a lot of people know 5 or more people that struggle with mental health, that shows that students are going to other students for their issues, which is good, I guess, that students can trust other students. But being on the receiving end of that sign, I have been before. It ruins my mental health. It's very stressful. It doesn't allow me to focus on what I need to focus on. So Lily's gonna come up with our proposal.
Okay, so we have 3 phases. Our phase 1 would be the visiting emotional support animals and mental health awareness month. Phase 2 would be the calming room, and then phase 3 would be the resident emotional support animal. So for phase 1, we have the visiting emotional support animals. This would be during like high stress times and finals weeks. Like animals, like puppies and kittens could come in during those times, or also during lunch or resource for relaxation and distress. And then for phase 2, we have a room of relaxation, a safe and quiet place with calming materials like comfy seats, low lighting, fidgeting toys, noise canceling headphones, soft colors, and plants. And this could be located near the office or potentially implemented into our remodel. And then for phase 3, we have the permanent emotional support animal. This is a resident dog at the school with a handler, and it gives emotional support, be more effective in the classroom, and available in case of traumatic events. So now Abby's going to talk about some examples of this.
Okay, so these are a few pictures of calming rooms, and these are just like a few ideas of what we would want in our calming room. They're soft colors, comfortable furniture, low lighting, all things that we would like in a potential calming room in the high school. Here in the next 2 slides, I'm going to show you a few items and their price points for the calming room. These are 2 chairs priced at between $500 and $600, and you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot of money for just a chair. But the high price indicates good durability, and the chair shown on the left, the black one, that is what we call an egg chair, which allows for an enclosed feeling, which can provide comfort and safety to a student, which is really nice if they are stressed. These are also a few other items that we could potentially have in our calming room: fidget toys, noise canceling headphones, and plants, all providing de-stress for students if they choose to come in. And these are a few pictures of the ESAs, emotional support animal dogs, with students of our age. And as you can see, when a student is with an emotional support animal, they are smiling, they are happier, which will lead to better attention in the school classroom. What do the experts say? So for our calming room, it's going to help calm people down. When the students are calm, it's also going to help teachers, so that teachers can know to provide a resource for their students. Manuel Cardona, who is part of the U.S. Secretary of Education, says that the recent COVID pandemic really increased anxiety levels among our generation, and a calming room can help decrease that, which we feel is very necessary. And then Professor Richard Wiseman of the University of Hertfordshire says that he has been inside a calming room, and the colors, sounds, and smells present in that room always help with the relaxation. So the experts for emotional support animals, the ACA, the American Counseling Association, says that it helps with the nurturance and enhancement of lives, and doctors already prescribe these animals for comfort, so they are proven to work. And if a student is more relaxed, it'll lead to less depressment and higher dopamine levels, which is a neurotransmitter in the brain that helps with motivation and happiness, will lead to increased attention, and that's going to help with a student's grades. So what do we need? For our calming room, we need a room, potentially in the new office floor plan. We also need calming materials, seats, low lights, fidgeting toys, plants, things like that. And then a supervisor, which could possibly be a counselor that we already have. For the ESA, we need a handler, somebody to bring the dog into the school, watch over it. And then we also need documentation of illness to get an emotional support animal, which could be just as simple as anxiety present in the school. What are our obstacles? For the calming room, the biggest obstacle would probably be the cost, which is around $2,000 to $5,000. The possibility of unavailable space, and finding an available supervisor that could watch over the room while students are in there, just because they need to be supervised. For the ESA, we need to resource the animal, which we could potentially do that through a humane society. We also need to figure out when access would be given and a time and place during the day for that dog. And Lucy's going to talk about our plan going forward now.
So for our timeline going forward, for our phase 1, we would have visiting emotional support dogs, and we would be talking about our mental health and we would have to, we would like to have that accomplished by May 2023. We would have the World Mental Health Day activities, which would be in October of 2024. We would have an ESA visit on December of 2024, and the ESA visit and Mental Health Awareness Month would be again in May of 2020. And for phase 2, which is the calming room, we would like to have everything priced that we would need by January. We would begin securing the funds by February and have a complete layout by May of 2023. We would begin construction of the room by November 2023 and have the room furnished and ready to use by March. And for our phase 3, which is our resident ESA, we would identify our disability, illness, or distress by March, have our ESA letter from a therapist for approval by April, have choose an ESA temporarily by April as well, use the ESA, especially during finals week, and have a full-time ESA building by December. So for our frequently asked questions, for our calming room, how are you going to make sure these students are using the room appropriately, just not going in there to talk to their friends or do random things? We would be using a pass system. By every 9 weeks, we would have students would be provided 2 passes that they can use at any time, and if they feel like they needed more, they can talk to administration. And for question 2 for the calming room, how would the room be operated on a staff standpoint? A supervisor would be needed, but not necessary at all times. And we might have a counselor that might already be trained. And for our ESA, if our dogs were brought in once every other week or during finals week, when would students get access to them? They would get access during resource and lunch, during finals week, or any other stressful test weeks. How do we know that the students will not abuse the privilege of an ESA? All students can benefit from an ESA, whether they're struggling or not. It is proven to increase the serotonin levels, therefore it helps everybody. So just...
I think we'll return to ours, just after we have a chance.